Everyone is busy going through their daily lives. Sung Woo steps out of a crowded bus, looking tired. His long bus commute is a daily grind. He often teases his friend Han Ho about it. Sung Woo completed tough military service as a Special Forces Reserve Sergeant, but now he can't even handle a 2-hour bus ride. He loves to remind Han Ho that he didn't finish his military service because of a girl. This leaves Han Ho silent as they head to class. On their way, Sung Woo feels bad about his friend's silence and asks if Han Ho is upset. Han Ho points to the sky atop the library building, claiming he saw a message in the sky saying "downloading monsters." Sung Woo assumes it's because Han Ho spends too much time playing video games. He tells Han Ho to get back to reality, and they go to their respective classes. During class, Sung Woo starts feeling dizzy and struggles to stay awake. Suddenly the lights go out, and a system message appears for everyone. It tells them to pick a class to prepare for the apocalypse. A 15-second timer begins, and skill cards with stars appear. Some students panic and warn others not to choose anything, fearing it's dangerous. Others are skeptical. Sung Woo tries to pick a warrior card with 2 stars, but Min Soo, a chubby classmate, grabs it first, summoning a sword. Panicked, Sung Woo randomly picks a card with the most stars. It turns out to be a 5-star Necromancer class, and the skill card merges with him. When the timer runs out, only Sung Woo and Min Soo have chosen cards. Min Soo is amazed by his new sword. Suddenly, a student bursts into the classroom with a goblin-like monster on his back, stabbing him relentlessly. The student pleads for help, but the goblin kills him. Everyone rushes away from the goblin, leaving Sung Woo at the front, thinking they might be next. Some students ask Min Soo to do something since he has a sword, but he's too scared and slow to react to the terrifying situation. Sung Woo also thinks that depending on Min Soo is useless, and has to find a way out of this situation on his own. The goblin plunges towards Sung Woo with this small dagger. Sung Woo thinks that he will also be done for if he gets caught up like the previous kid the goblin killed. Sung Woo kicks the goblin with all of his might, which throws the goblin back a bit. Someone will realize that the goblin barely felt like it was 30 pounds, and he can easily kill it. He picks up a chair and smashes the head of the goblin with all of his force. The goblin is defeated, and he receives 10 gold from the system for defeating the goblin. Everyone is shocked after watching this. Sung Woo is quick to adapt to the situation and realizes that the world has fused with the game. While Sung Woo is busy understanding the current situation, an assistant message pops up, which tells Sung Woo that he can command the dead under his authority. He touches the goblin skeleton option in his command list, and the dead goblin behind him reanimates as a skeleton. At this point, he understands that his Necromancer class allows him to summon undead beings. 2 more goblins rush inside the classroom. Sung Woo orders his undead skeleton to kill those 2 goblins. The skeleton plunges at one goblin and stabs him in the shoulder. The stab wound is not deep enough, and he gets pushed back by the goblin. Both goblins gang up on him and start chomping off his bones one by one. Sung Woo thinks that he needs to help his skeleton in getting rid of these 2 goblins. It's easy, but he needs a proper weapon, so he asks Min Soo for his sword. But Min Soo is a coward and rejects him. Sung Woo thinks he's pretty pathetic and asks him to use his sword to peel potatoes. Simon picks up another chair and throws it towards the 2 goblins who are attacking his skeleton. The goblins are knocked back a bit by the chair, and the undead skeleton seizes this chance to end them both with his knife. Sung Woo receives 20 gold for defeating both goblins. Before we continue, take a moment to answer the question of the day. What is the coolest concept for a manhwa? Comment down below for a chance to be shouted out. Now back to the recap. After the fight ended, Sung Woo received another system message that he has maxed out the number of minions under his authority. His classmates ask him about what he had done, and he has also no idea about the ongoing events. Other students think that the same thing is happening all over the campus because they can hear screaming voices of others. But when Sung Woo opens the curtains on the windows, he witnesses fires all around the city. Some students decide they need to leave the campus to survive in the corridor. More goblins start chasing them, but they are all subdued by Sung Woo's undead skeletons. While Sung Woo's skeletons are fighting the goblins, he asks the other students to run away while they hold the goblins. Sung Woo also realizes that this world is now working like a game. He can get stronger if he keeps killing goblins and grinding levels. Meanwhile, one of his undead skeletons gets defeated, and his head comes flying near him. Luckily, the goblins are exhausted, and his 2 other skeletons manage to kill them, earning him 20 gold and a level up. He is now on level 2, and has access to his status window. 5 random skill cards appear in front of him, and he can choose one as a level up gift. He chooses a card that increases his maximum number of minions by 1. He can now control up to 4 undead skeletons at once, but he has used up most of his mana because he called up so many skeletons. Sungwoo looks outside the window, and it seems like the situation outside is worse than on the campus itself. While he's going downstairs with the skeletons, Hanho gets freaked out by one of his skeletons and stabs it in the head. Hanho becomes relieved after seeing Sungwoo alive. Sungwoo tells him that these skeletons are part of his skill. Someone asks which class Hanho picked, and Hanho replies that he picked the 1-star rogue class. They are both heading down the stairs with the skeletons, but suddenly a message pops up saying that they have received synergy with a dagger. It turns out that if 5 members of a party have a dagger equipped, they will receive a 10% fatal blow chance and 10 additional gold. While they are moving down the stairs with the skeletons, they encounter another pack of goblins, and there is a goblin chief among them. The goblins become affected by a skill called Scent of Death, which weakens their stats by 30%. Scent of Death activates automatically when there are 4 to 5 skeletons present in the party. The skeletons start attacking the goblins, but the goblin chief activates a skill called Wild Berserker, which buffs all the goblins under his command. The goblins have become more powerful and start pushing back the skeletons. Someone knows that they are being pushed back because of the skill of the goblin chief, so he orders one of his skeletons to cut off the arm of the goblin chief, which he's using for the Berserker skill. The skeleton manages to chop off the arm of the chief, which weakens the goblins, and the skeletons finish them off with ease. The goblin chief is enraged, but he is easily killed by the skeletons working in synergy. Sungwoo receives a one-handed crude spear as a bracelet from the goblin chief, which he was using for the Berserker skill. He becomes a bit happy and praises one of his skeletons, who starts making weird, creepy noises with his bones. When they reach the entrance of the campus, they see a lot of survivors. Someone orders his skeletons to hide in the copy room because people will freak out after watching them. The situation at the entrance doesn't feel good. They are locked inside the campus, and they can't go out. While Sungwoo tries to head outside using the main door, he is stopped by one of the student council members, Jin-sok, who was previously famous for being a bully and a harasser. He tells them that he is a shield master with 2 stars, and he already killed one of the goblins. He further elaborates that everyone with a weapon should work together to defend the other students. Minsu comes running towards Jin-seok and reports that he heard faint sounds of goblins near the entrance. Jin-seok orders the students to get inside the cafe so he and the other guys with skills can protect them. Someone tells Han-ho to come near the entrance of the gate. They see a message on the entrance that the entrance door has been sealed by a magical force, and they need to defeat the boss monster within 2 hours and 11 minutes. If they fail to defeat the monster within the given time frame, the monsters inside the building will grow even stronger. Now Sungwoo knows what he needs to do next, but he is stopped by Jin-seok, who wants them to hold the monsters in there until backup arrives. Sungwoo tells Jin-seok that the same thing can be happening around the whole country, and waiting for a rescue team is useless, but Jin-seok refutes by saying that the Korean military is stronger than the monsters. Sungwoo has enough of this and starts heading towards the stairs, but he is stopped by an approaching group of 5 goblins. Someone orders his skeletons to come out. After watching the skeletons, everyone freaks out because they think skeletons are part of the monsters, but someone tells them that they don't need to be scared because they belong to his class, which is stronger than the idiot Jin-seok. Goblins get scared by the death and skill of the skeletons, and it reduces their stats by 30%. Xiongwoo orders his goblins to start the hunt. Skeletons start attacking the goblins, and Sungwoo helps them using his spear. 2 goblins try to run, but someone orders the skeletons to block their way. Sungwoo is fighting himself because he wants to show the others that defeating them is not impossible, so he can persuade them to join him in boss hunting. When a goblin is killed by a skeleton while the other one tries to run away, Sungwoo throws his spear, which pierces the back of the goblin. Everyone is overjoyed by watching the fight. Someone received a roulette ticket by the system for killing 20 monsters, and he's the 34th person to complete this achievement. His rank will be increased to infinite status, and there are only 100 people who are eligible for this ticket. He praises his skeletons for their work, and they again start making that weird voice with their bones. Someone who heads inside the cafe and tells everyone that no backup is arriving and they will be killed by stronger monsters if they cannot find and kill the boss monster within the given time period. One of the students tells Sungwoo that he saw the boss monster on the rooftop and it killed his professor. Now he knows his next destination, but no one comes forward to join his party. Even his friend Han-ho wants to stay behind, but he forces him to come with him because he needs the knife buff for his skeletons. A 23-year-old girl, Jisoo Yoon, comes forward. She has a 3-star class called Tiger Hunter. Sungwoo asks Jinsok to come up with them, but he's a coward, so he makes an excuse that he needs to stay behind to defend the other students. Jinsok and his party start heading towards the rooftop. They encounter some goblins on the stairs. Sungwoo heads upstairs with the skeletons to fend off the goblins, while Jisoo-yoon takes care of the two goblins coming from behind using her fast sword. Sungwoo and Hanho are both impressed by her skill. On the upper floors they encounter an injured Professor Huang. Professor Huang tells Xiongwu that most of his students are dead because they tried to head to the rooftop according to the instructions of the emergency evacuation manual, but they encountered the boss monster there, and most of the students were killed. Professor Huang instructs Sungwoo to never go towards the rooftop, and these prove to be his last words. Xiongwu receives a new exclusive quest after the death of his professor. The quest says that he can appease the grudge of the dead by defeating the boss monster within the given time limit. This choice is going to affect his destiny. Sungwoo gets more furious and heads toward the rooftop to fight the boss with his companions. The rooftop is in a terrible state. The goblins are pillaging everything valuable from the dead bodies of the students, and it makes Sungwoo furious after watching it. Sungwoo uses his bracelet called Berserker to increase the stats of his skeletons, and an all-out skirmish starts on the rooftop. Everyone is fighting, which pumps Hanho up a bit, and he throws his knife, which hits the head of a goblin, earning him his first kill. He becomes more encouraged, which makes him feel like a character from JoJo. After encountering the scent of death, the surviving goblins become scared and run off to their boss, the goblin captain. After hearing the roar of the goblin captain, the goblins' morale rises, and they start attacking Sungwoo's party, but they are still no match for the skeletons. On the other hand, the goblin captain starts smashing skeletons one by one, so Sungwoo can make more skeletons from the corpses, but it depletes his mana. Hanho throws two knives at the boss, which are blocked by the boss's shoulder. This makes the boss more furious, and he starts charging towards Hanho. The skeletons try to save him, but two of them get easily smashed by one hit of the boss. One of them survives and manages to land a hit while the boss is busy taking care of the last skeleton. Jisoo-yoon takes advantage of this opening and slashes the boss, which wounds him a little bit. Sungwoo starts fighting more strategically and uses his skeletons as bait while he throws his spear towards the boss, which slashes his cheek a bit. The boss becomes more agitated and smashes some of the skeletons of Sungwoo. Now Sungwoo has barely enough mana left for a last skeleton summon. Sungwoo sees a sword stuck in the rubble, and he now knows that he needs to end this quickly, or they are gonna die. Sungwoo picks up the sword and orders his two skeletons to charge at the boss. The boss smashes both of his skeletons, and the third skeleton jumps up towards the boss with a sword, but the boss deflects his attack. It turns out Sungwoo was after the synergy of swords, and now Sungwoo, Jisoo-yoon, and his skeleton have a sword. This activates sword synergy, which decreases the weight of the swords by 50% and increases attack speed by 10%. Sungwoo charges towards the boss with a chair, and his other party members also start attacking the boss. Hanho manages to hit the arm of the boss with a knife. Sungwoo orders his last skeleton to attack the boss. This skeleton was the first goblin monster killed by Sungwoo, and it surprises Sungwoo by beheading the boss with a sword in one hit. They receive 255 gold for defeating the goblin captain. Sungwoo gets leveled up, and now he is a level 3. The skeleton also absorbed the mana of the goblin captain, which upgraded his class, and now he has a tattoo on his forehead. He is now a level 2 elite goblin, and he has also a commander attribute. Someone who thinks his commander attribute is going to be useful once he gets more skeletons. Hanho has leveled up to 2, and Jisoo leveled up to 3, and all of them received options to choose a random card. Sungwoo chose a card, and he got a basic skill to create weapons from bones. This skill costs 10 mana, and he can create swords, clubs, spears, and bows using the bones of the corpses. Because Sungwoo completed an exclusive quest of avenging his professor, he will receive an exclusive reward, and his destiny has been changed slightly. His maximum number of minions have increased by 1, and now he can summon up to 5 minions. Hanho received a hood as a reward, and increases his chance of hiding from the monsters by 50%. He can use this hood to run away from the monsters, but now he knows how to fight, so he is going to use it to fight against the monsters. Jisoo-yoon received a fire whetstone. If she sharpens her blade with it, there is a chance that her sword will catch fire during an attack. Sungwoo tells them that they can test their skills later, and they need to head back down on the entrance. Jinsok is pissed at everyone because they keep saying that Jinsok should have gone up along with Xiongwu. Jinsok gets angry and starts spouting that Sungwoo was an idiot and he must be dead by now. Suddenly, skeletons appear behind Jinsok and he becomes scared. Sungwoo heads towards the entrance and it opens up after he touches it. He also tells Jinsok that he is very pathetic. All students start making fun of Jinsok for being arrogant and a fool. Sungwoo heads outside and asks the students to follow him. There are dead bodies all over the place, and someone thinks that goblins did that. Hanho spots a group of survivors along the way. Someone can easily tell that these people have fought and survived against these goblins, and they have a bit of experience in this field. Jin-seok knows the leader of this group of survivors. His name is Daesung Park, and he's also the president of the student council. Daesung tells the students with Sungwoo that they also fought and survived against the goblins, and he can guarantee their safety if they tag along with him. But he seems to have some ulterior motives. He tells that he can also join him if he destroys all of the monsters he is controlling using his class, because he thinks they are creepy, and they can be a threat to other survivors. Jisoo tells Daesung that he is full of it, and they don't even want to join his group. She also tells everyone that Daesung is a hypocrite, and he embezzled student membership fees during the festival by fabricating an event staging company and its receipts. She was the one who reported him on the university website. Daesung becomes embarrassed after hearing it. Jisoo leaves along with her party members. It turns out Daesung was a rich, spoiled kid, and he used to take advantage of girls. Some of her friends were also abused by him. That's why she knew about the true nature of Daesung. Hanho becomes enraged after hearing about the true nature of Daesung. Sungwoo suggests that they should take the path by the hill to escape the campus. There would be fewer monsters present there because there is low human activity in that area. Along their path they spot an orc, which is even bigger than the goblin boss. After spotting them, the orc makes a loud scream and plunges towards Sungwoo's party to attack them. Sangwoo is a bit excited because he has found a new material for the skeletons. Before we continue, let's take a moment to shout out Ramariz Morris 9462, who commented, "Incredible video on our Desert Island video, thanks for commenting." The orc proves to be quite strong and he's about to hit Jisoo Yoon, but a goblin skeleton takes the hit instead of her and perishes right there. The one-armed skeleton warrior attacks the orc, and the orc receives massive damage because of the effect of the 88 blade damage of the one-headed sword. The single party flees into the forest, and he uses his skeletons to bait the boss. When the orc is in the forest, he gets attacked by flying knives from Han Ho and the skeletons. The orc manages to deflect some knives. He starts smashing the skeletons, but there are a lot of goblin dead bodies around, and someone can make them again and again until he runs out of mana. Two skeletons take hold of the arms of the orc. Jisoo Yoon manages to slash the leg of the orc, and one of his arms is chopped off by Sungwoo. The skeleton warrior finishes him off with a sword stabbed to the neck. Sungwoo's party receives 110 gold for defeating the orc patrol leader. Orc patrol leaders are a bit stronger than normal orcs. Sungwoo tries to make the orc patrol leader into one of his skeletons, but he fails to do so because of his low summon level. Some of Sungwoo's mana is recovered, so he uses his great bone weapon skill on the dead orc leader to forge some low-level bone clubs. He equips his skeletons with the bone clubs to reach a 5-member synergy with the same weapon to get extra buffs. He gives the sword of the one-armed skeleton warrior to Han Ho and tells him to return the sword back to the skeleton warrior if the need arises. When they reach the entrance, they again see a block path message which says that they need to defeat the boss monster within 8 hours, or if they fail to do so, the monsters in the area will grow even stronger. A message pops up in front of them which says that an orc unit is beginning their hunt, and they need to choose a suitable location to fight them. Orcs mostly use their sense of smell to track their prey, so it means that the more people you have in your party, the stronger orc unit will be dispatched to get rid of them. Sungwoo's party seems to be a bit safe because there are only a 3-member party, and they will get less of a challenge as compared to the other group. Suddenly they start hearing screams from Daesung's group. They seem to have caught the attention of the orcs due to their large number of survivors. The first attack on Sonu's group has also begun, and it seems like they only need to take care of 5 orcs. Soon, they spot 5 orcs, which seem to be searching for them. Sungwoo has an idea to lay a trap using the empty cars and his skeletons. When the orcs get close to the cars, Hanho starts making fun of them by calling them greedy pig bastards. The orcs become enraged and start rushing towards him. Once the orcs are within the vicinity of the abandoned cars, the skeletons attack them by surprise with their clubs, and they get knocked out due to the synergy effect of the clubs. They finish off the knocked orcs with ease. They received a total of 231 gold for killing the 5 orc hunters. They also receive an additional award of 100 gold for killing the first wave of ambushers. Sungwoo got up to level 4 and chose a random card, which increased his maximum number of skeletons by 2. Now he can have a total of 7 minions at the same time, but his mana capacity is still only 50. Hanho also received a high-speed stabbing skill, which he can only use with the dagger. Jisoo Yoon shows a strength card and gained 2 stat points. She's also feeling a bit stronger than before. Sungwoo asks Hanho to give the sword back to the one-armed warrior skeleton, because now Hanho needs to use the dagger to fully monopolize his skill. On the way, they see 7 orc hunters attacking a bus. The people inside the bus are retaliating with a spear, but they cannot hold the orcs for a long period of time. Jisoo suggests that they attack the orcs from the front, while the person with the spirit attacks them from behind. But Sungwoo is skeptical about whether or not the person inside the bus will cooperate with them. He suggests a new, better plan. Inside the bus, 2 persons, one with a spear and the other with a shield and sword, are trying their best to fend off the orcs, but they seem to be scared. Meanwhile, a car with skeletons crashes into the orcs, and the skeletons start massacring them. The survivors inside the bus mistake them for worse monsters than the orcs. They are startled when they see Hanho banging on the bus's door and calling them out. The spear guy tells Sungwoo's party that there is a machine they can use to buy items with the gold they acquired by killing the monsters. It's basically an E-rank shop. When Sungwoo turns it on, he has 3 roulette options, including bronze, silver and gold. Hanho has 360 gold, and Jisoo Yoon has 584 gold, so they can only go for the bronze option. Sungwoo has 1552 gold, and he can try the silver roulette, but he also has an unlimited ranked roulette ticket he received early on in the lobby of the college building. Sungwoo taps on the gold roulette option, and it starts spinning. He gets the first place item due to his luck. It is a legendary class item called Tear of the Sea Spirit, and it increases the total mana by 200, and boosts the amount of recovery speed by 200%. Sungwoo is quite happy after receiving this item because he can summon a lot of minions again and again if enough dead bodies are present. Sungwoo spins the silver roulette using his 1000 gold, and he receives a second place item, Vanguard Shield. Jisoo receives a second place sword in the bronze roulette called Punitive Expedition Longsword. Meanwhile, Hanho receives a C-rank potion bundle. It looks like Tessen's group is still fighting in the sports field. Someone decides that they are going to help them using a bus instead of a car this time. Normal students are getting massive by the orcs, while Daesung and his other awakened friends are trying to escape the orcs by themselves. The bus arrives in the sports field, and it crashes into the orcs. Kyung-sui, the spearman, is driving the bus, and he's quite happy because he's receiving a lot of gold for killing the orcs. Meanwhile, Hanho and the skeletons are also getting rid of orcs by throwing knives at them. The bus stops near the survivors, and someone tells the survivors to get inside the bus. Jisoo slashes an orc, and the orc catches fire due to the effects of the fire whetstone, which she has received after killing the first boss of the campus building's rooftop. The remaining orcs are easily killed left and right by Sungwoo and his minions. After the battle ended, Na-song and his awakened friends tried to get on the bus, but they are stopped by Sungwoo. Sungwoo knew that they were trying to escape using the other students as bait. Dancing is quite pissed after hearing it, but their conversation comes to a halt when they hear a roar, and they receive a notification that the orc chief is infuriated by the failed hunt. Sungwoo gets a bit afraid after hearing the roar. He knows that he needs as much help as he can to defeat the orc chief. Sungwoon tells their songs party that they can join him if they are willing to listen to his orders. Daesung eats his pride and is about to enter the bus, but someone demands that Daesung should hand over his chainmail if he wants to hop on the bus. Daesung asks how he can protect himself without the chainmail, so Sungwoo replies that he will protect him, and this is a small price he needs to pay for his protection. Sungwoo is now on level 5, and he can summon mid-level monsters like orcs. The skill card he chose allows him to summon 2 more minions. Now he can summon up to 9 minions. Some will give the chainmail to the one-armed skeleton, but he seems to be struggling with it. The one-armed skeleton is his oldest minion. That's why he gave him a nickname Righty, because he only has a right arm. While Song was removing the chainmail from Righty, Hanho tells him that they think they need another bus if they want to keep rescuing more survivors. Sungwoo says that there is no need for that. He tells the survivors that they are going to engage in combat with the orcs very soon because the orc chief is pissed and he decided to wage an all-out war on the humans. Unlike previously where they were only attacking in waves, one of the survivors breaks the silence and tells them that he saw over 100 orcs in the gym. This scares the survivors, and they receive penalties because most of the survivors have lost their will to fight after hearing it. But Songwoo is sure that there are fewer than 100 orcs left because they already killed a lot of them. He tells everyone that he's going to fight the orcs alone. Daesung and his Lankies become more cocky after hearing it. They think Songwoo was just lucky until now, and he's soon gonna dig his own grave. Jisoo tells Songwoo that killing 100 monsters is not gonna be easy, even for him. Someone replied that even if they flocked together, they wouldn't be useful because most of the survivors are weaker than his skeletons. He told his companions that they are helpful, but things are going to get more dangerous, so he's not going to take them with him. Jisoo thinks Seungwoo has a rational mind, but this time he is being a bit reckless. After escorting the survivors to the safe building, Seungwoo starts heading towards his next destination along with his minions. His body members are watching him from the bus, ready to rush over if something happens to Seungwoo. In the sports ground, Seungwoo comes face to face with a large number of orcs. There's an enraged red-haired orc commanding them, someone who seems like a mid-level boss. The red-haired orc orders the other orcs to attack Seungwoo. Seungwoo heads towards a small staircase where he and his minions make a stand. There's only one narrow staircase where the orcs can attack him, making his place easy to defend. Orcs start approaching the stairs, and Seungwoo uses his bracelet skill while Berserker, which gives him and his minions a 10 attack increase and a 20 speed increase against all goblin-type enemies for 10 minutes. Skeletons start throwing their knives towards the orcs, and they start falling like flies. The red-haired orc blocks the knives, and Sung orders his skeletons to start attacking using the bone gloves, but they are easily overwhelmed by the orcs. The one-armed skeleton becomes enraged after watching his skeleton friends getting decimated, but Sung-woo stops him because it's not his turn yet. Sung-woo resurrects the dead orcs in place of the fallen skeletons. They also receive a weapon synergy buff, because there are more than 5 orcs with the same axe weaponry in the party. The skeleton orcs start decimating the orcs. Even if some skeleton orcs fall, new ones are resurrected to take their place, and they don't even get tired like the orcs. Song-woo knows that this is the correct way of utilizing his Necromancer class. The survivors watching from the windows of the building are amazed after witnessing the onslaught of orcs by Song-woo. His party members who are in the bus are also quite happy after watching him take out the orcs. Meanwhile, Sung-woo is impressed by his new legendary item, the Sea Spirit, which increases his throttle mana by 200 and his mana regeneration by 200%. The remaining orcs are still holding up fiercely, so Song-woo orders Righty to jump into the fight. Righty takes care of the remaining orcs in a few seconds, and Song-woo receives a new roulette ticket for slaying 100 monsters. It turns out Song-woo is the 21st person to complete this achievement, and his rank will also increase to infinite status, which is only limited to 100 people. Sogo witnesses some fools crossing a bus into the main gate. On the other hand, school president Daesung's group is being kidnapped by orcs. Song-woo heads towards their direction to save them, and other awakened people who are watching get pumped up and start following him. Sung, who heads inside the building where orcs have kept Daesung's group captive, finds a shaman orc there who seems to be their new boss. Inside, there are also many dead bodies of other monsters. Sung-woo tells everyone to get ready, but the situation isn't looking good for them. Daesung begs Sung-woo to save them, but Sung-woo replies that he will try his best, but he's not a miracle worker, and they got themselves into that situation in the first place. When Sung-woo's party charges out at the orcs, they start killing the dead group members as some sort of ritual to enhance the power of the boss monster. Some of his group stops after watching this cruel scene. The boss gets a power buff after the sacrifice and uses the Breath of Abyss on Sung-woo's party, leaving them all in a state of confusion. Their mana is also burning at a faster rate. The reinforced boss monster makes his full appearance, a junior black magician orc. Chief Hanho drinks a potion to heal his status effect and offers it to Song-woo. Sung-woo is not affected by the boss's Breath of Abyss. On the contrary, his mana has increased up to 4,000 due to the effects of the Breath of Abyss. He tells Hanho to give the potion to Jisoo. Sung-woo's other stats have also increased temporarily due to the Breath of Abyss. Now he can summon 50 minions at the same time. The boss did not expect this, and he is also confused by it. Jisoo and Hot Host start rushing towards the boss, but Sung-woo stops them. He resurrects all the dead bodies inside the boss room, and Song receives a lot of synergies due to this large number of minions possessing the same type of weapons. Sung-woo is now overflowing with power, ready to show the true power of death to the boss. What will happen next? Find out next time by staying tuned for our future recaps. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more great recaps.